Okay, so Donnie from G2G here. I want to talk today about pain and purpose and lessons from the Special Forces. I had a conversation recently with a really good friend of mine who works as a sports psychologist. I worked closely with him when I was playing rugby, and it was really good to catch up with him again after far too long out of contact. I was explaining to him a little bit about what we do at G2G, and that conversation led him to tell me about a colleague of his who had recently taken part in the television show SES, Are You Tough Enough? Now, resilience is a topic that fascinates me, asking myself the question, why do some people persevere where others don't? This conversation with my friend led me to think about it in a new way. So he told me a little bit about his colleague's preparation for going on the TV show, not just his physical preparation, but also how he prepared himself mentally for the challenges that he knew lay ahead. And the clue here is kind of in the title. One of the things, that maybe the main thing that they're looking for, that they're testing for, is toughness. So how do you go about testing toughness, testing resilience, testing grit? Choose your own word. So they did their research and found out that in a Special Forces selection process, the tasks to test for resilience had to have three specific characteristics. They had to be painful, they had to have seemingly no purpose, and then finally, there needed to be no clear endpoint. So not only were you in pain, not only were you doing something that seemingly was pointless, but you also had no idea when it was going to end. And that's how they would go about that selection process. Now, there's so much to kind of go on there, so many tangents you could go with this, but for the purpose of this discussion, I just want to focus on a couple of things that I mentioned there. So purpose and pain and the relationship between the two. So we'll start with purpose. So one of G2G's core values is purposefulness. One of the expectations we put not only on our members, but also as us as a coaching team and us as individual coaches, is that we have a goal, that we have a purpose. It's part of our culture. It's who we are. For instance, how could we possibly plan a route if we don't know what we're going? Clarity breeds direction. So we ask our members, do they know what result is that they're looking for? Do they know what result is that they're looking for us to help them achieve? And do they have a grasp on why that result, or why achieving that result, is important to them? And if they're unsure, our goal setting process, which takes place at the end of the first month and then every 3 months, will hopefully clarify that purpose for them to the extent that it needs to be clarified to initiate action and start the process of making a change and getting results. Why is this important? And that brings me back to the SES again. So what's the difference between that Special Forces selection and G2G coaching? There are actually quite a few differences, but one is they are specifically trying to get the person to quit. That's why they're doing it. It's basically last person standing. They want to see who is the toughest. The difference being at G2G coaching, we don't want you to quit, okay? We know that one of the key skills that people have to develop is consistency if they want to achieve their goal. So part of us helping people develop that skill of consistency is we help them clarify their purpose when they first arrive, so that when things do get difficult, and they will get difficult, the person will persevere. And that's a really important point to make, actually, is that achieving a goal usually involves making some sort of consistent change. It wouldn't be a goal if you were already there. That process of change, that journey to go from point A to point B, it can be at times uncomfortable and it can be painful. And I don't necessarily just mean pain as in physical pain, like an AMRAP set or a week 3, 9.5 RPE session done at 6 o'clock in the morning. It can also mean the discomfort of dips in motivation, challenges outside of the gym, and then unfortunately injury. Like, all of those things can happen, and they do happen. And you need to be prepared for that. And the other thing I want to mention here is that it could also being asked, and it's a huge thing that we do is teaching, coaching, teaching people new skills. Also being asked to learn a new skill that initially feels really hard and is really alien concept to you, can make people feel very, very uncomfortable. No one likes feeling that they are trying and failing. No one likes to feel, for want of a better word, inept or unskilled. How I describe this is stick me in a gym and ask me to do a hinge, and I'm comfortable doing that. That's a skill I already have. But say, for instance, put me in a maths class, that is definitely not a skill of mine. And I would feel uncomfortable. But what I do know is that if I wanted to get better at maths by going to this maths class, I would need to persevere through that discomfort to acquire that skill. I would need to lean into the discomfort as opposed to leaning away from it. That discomfort is the reality of working towards a challenging, meaningful goal. As I said, how is this part of our goal setting process? This is part of our expectation setting, in that we make it clear at the start that there will be times that we will ask you to push yourself, or ask a member to push themselves, to be uncomfortable. And it would be irresponsible is a bit of a strong word, but it would be irresponsible for us not to say, listen, there's times this is going to be hard. You need to be ready for that. We can't just say, oh, yeah, everything's going to be great. Don't worry about it. It's going to be a breeze. Probably not. We set those expectations at the start, and part of those, once again, that expectation setting goes together with the clarifying of the purpose, so that the member can attack this goal safe in the knowledge that it is going to be worth it. It's something that has meaning to it. It's going to, when they achieve it, it's going to feel good. And then when they start to feel the discomfort that goes with that change or that work towards a goal, that discomfort has meaning, and they accept, or one accepts, that it's part of the positive change you're making. And once again, so why do we make that clear at the start? Why do we set that specific expectation? And that brings us to pain. And now pain is a fascinating area that I'll only touch on very, very briefly here. But a few things that I've learned about pain through my own experience, through what I've read, through conversations with people, is that, start with, when I say pain, I'm not just talking about physical pain or the specific pain associated with an injury. That's kind of a separate subject, and that brings into the equation things like acceptable, unacceptable pain, and which is a topic for another day, perhaps. I'm talking about a person's ability to endure expected discomfort. So what's really interesting is that people's perception of pain, people's perception of bearable and unbearable pain and discomfort is partly linked to their understanding of the purpose behind the pain. So they ask if the pain is seen as just needless suffering, or is that pain obviously a necessary part of the process of change? And then being able to then answer that question, am I willing to pay that price to achieve what I want to achieve? Am I in a position to make the choice to feel the pain? Or do I feel like this pain is being needlessly inflicted upon me? And it's a really important distinction to make. So with pain, I'm expecting it, I choose it, and I embrace it as part of change. And with that, when you have that clarity of purpose, it allows someone to embrace the pain, the discomfort. They know that it has meaning, that it has a key part in the change that they're trying to make, the result that they're trying to achieve, the goal that they're trying to reach. To finish up, so that the next time maybe you're doing an AMRAP, or you're up at 6:30 in the morning and you've got a 9.5 RPE week 3 session to do, maybe just checking back in with the purpose behind your goal, your why. It might just help you push through that discomfort and take another step a little bit closer to achieving your goal.